She asked him about the possibility of an in-ring return in WWE. And this was a quote from CM Punk. He said he hadn't talked to WWE, but, quote, "It's nothing that I'm actively pursuing or interested in." And then he went on to say, quote, "I know to not say no, but there's some hurdles there," was what he said.
Yes.
My gut tells me, and I have not talked to CM Punk, money talks. WWE's got more cash on hand than ever with these new TV contracts. I do think Punk is going to wrestle. I don't think he's going to wrestle full-time or part-time, but I think he will at least do one match. I think that WWE will have no problem throwing money at him, as I said with Randy Orton, driving the Brinks truck up to his house in order to get that match in, and I think it's going to happen.
Everybody that I speak to in the company thinks it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen, and he's smart enough not to say no, or he says never say never, because he knows, and they're going to throw money at him, and I think it'll get done. Now, Seth Rollins, we got to talk about Seth Rollins, Mr. Twitter, genius, or whatever you want to call him. A few screenshots of some tweets regarding CM Punk I want to show you guys. Put up the first one, Nigel. Hopefully we have them in the right order.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, hopefully. So this came out last week, right after Punk made his first appearance on Backstage. Seth Rollins on November 13th, "Fight me, CM Punk." Then, after Punk was on Backstage the first time, he posted something on Twitter. Rollins, of course, had to respond. Do you have that one, Nigel?
This one?
Yeah, so there's Punk's on the bottom where he said, "It's weird trying to catch up 5 years of wrestling, bright spots, mostly women. There's bad too. I'm going to talk about it. No one is safe." And then there's Rollins, "Don't talk about me. Fight me. I'll catch her right up." Then on Backstage, here's a quote from CM Punk. He said, quote, "Seth needs to stop tweeting," was his quote when asked about Seth Rollins. And Seth Rollins can't let anything go, so he posted on Twitter after that and put it up, the third one. Hell of a response, "Coward," from Seth Rollins. I love the fact that Renee Young, whose husband, is or was really tight with Seth Rollins, made a point of saying that he's lost his edge. Renee Young said that on a WWE not produced show, but a WWE content show, said that Seth Rollins has lost his edge. Here's my question for you. If Punk returns to the ring, which I think he will for at least one match, is Rollins the right opponent for him, do you think? Because obviously that's what they're trying to drum up, or at least Rollins is.
I think Triple H is the biggest match for him.
100% agree. 100% agree.
But I don't think that Seth Rollins is a wrong opponent for him. And Seth Rollins, for better or for worse, is kind of shoehorning himself into that. Seth Rollins has a lot of gifts. I mean, he's fantastic at a lot of different things. I don't know if the gift of gab is one of them. He can cut a good promo. He can talk great on the mic. I don't know if you got that like MJF Rock like type of ability to just insult someone off the cuff quite like those guys do out of Seth Rollins. But was I at all concerned or interested in this match 1 month ago? No, not at all. Am I now? I'm significantly more interested. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, it's not like they don't know each other. They feuded with one another. They've had, I'm pretty sure, dozens of matches against each other. They've teamed with each other in the past.
Yeah, I put up the thumbnail for the pod this week, and it's Rollins as the NXT champion and Punk as the WWE champion when they had a match in NXT. Yeah, and they tagged up in NXT too, I think.
They've worked together dozens of times. I mean, if you want to go watch a good pay-per-view quality match between those two, it exists already. It was, I remember it plain as day. It was the New Year's Eve episode of Raw a month before Punk left. Like they worked for almost 15, 20 minutes, I think, one-on-one. Like the match is out there if you want to seek it out. So they are very familiar with one another.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that Hunter is the right match, and some people might look at that and go, well, what do you mean? Hunter is like pushing 50 and he's not as great in the ring as he used to be. It's because everybody knows the backstory and they know the real life. And everybody knows that those guys hated each other and that Punk did the podcast with Cabana and he talked a lot of trash about Triple H. If they would let those guys cut loose, and Hunter will do whatever the hell he wants anyway, and Punk will too. If they let those guys cut loose in the ring on promo work, it would be phenomenally entertaining. And so that's the match I would love to see for WrestleMania. Now, of course, Survivor Series is this weekend. And lo and behold, where is Survivor Series, Sean, this weekend?
Chicago.
And so also, people are speculating.
Before we really jump into that, the best storylines these days have a lot of elements of realism in it.
For years, it's been like that.
And I thought Cody and Jericho did an amazing job of taking something that was completely manufactured and they manufactured realism, which is not easy to bottle. CM Punk and Triple H don't have to do that. They've got a decade of history. Beyond that, 15 years of history.
I think what it'll come down to is what are they allowed to say? Because obviously there's certain legalities, and Punk would love to go in there and talk about, you let me wrestle with a staph infection and all this kind of stuff, which, Punk might think of doing anyway. When it comes to legalities and because there's others involved in that lawsuit, they got to be very careful that they tread lightly in those subjects. But I think it'd be very entertaining. Now,